Hey, Podnutzians, welcome to this. We're going to try this live unboxing here. We're going to see how everything goes. My name is o-droid Geek, owner, operator of Podnutz.com. This video is going to be basically about the PineTab. If you're unaware what the PineTab is, let's go over some of the specs and some of the numbers. Basically, this is one of the first true Linux tablets. Okay, we've had a couple little offshoots. We've had a lot of Android tablets. We've had, of course, iOS, iPad kind of tablets, but this is the first Linux tablet. Now, with that stated, everybody thinking about this also has to basically curb their enthusiasm and curb their expectations to make them more realistic. Dare I say, like the very first time you get a Chromebook, you open it up, you power it on, and then you're thinking, well, is this all it is? And kind of thing. Well, it's like the first iteration of something. So we have to, like, make sure we look at it realistically. Now, let's look at some positive things about it. This is a open source ARM 64-bit tablet, which is really good. 11.6 inch. It's a touch bigger than I thought it was going to be. I could have swore it was going to be around 10 inches, but obviously I didn't take a hard look at these numbers beforehand. That's okay. It's powered by the same quad core ARM Cortex A53 64-bit processor used in our popular A64 Pine A64 single board computer. If you have any experience with those boards, you know you're not going to get, in air quotes, desktop-like experiences, but you will get a usable type experiences the way that I will describe it. It does come with an optional trackpad and keyboard, which I was able to get. Let's go over some of the specs real quick, though. All-winner A64 quad-core SoC with a Mali 400 MP2 GPU. 2 gigs of DDR3 RAM. Some people say that's not enough. I say it depends on how you use it and what your expectations are for it. One of the first things I'm going to probably do is get rid of the uh, full featured desktop type experience and put it more towards a i3 or awesome window manager experience, saving those resources for other things and not just for a desktop experience. While the device is okay, that's what I thought. The device is 11.6 inch. The actual screen is a 10-inch MIPI 720 capacitive LCD, so it is touchscreen. Bootable to a micro SD slot, 64 gig of eMMC, so you can literally dual boot it. In the Linux world, 64-bit is typically extreme amounts of storage. You rarely need more than like 12, I will say, gigs of a storage for most use cases. It does have a micro HDMI port for external HDMI output, so it has built-in display out, which I will say I like. A USB 2.A host, which is the full-size USB 2.0, which I will understand people wanting USB 3 or USB-C. With the first version of this, I'm okay, I'll put it in air quotes, with it having a USB 2 host. I'm not going to be using this for mass data transfers and kind of things, but I do appreciate how now I was able to bring, when I went down to Disney, USB-C. It powered my work laptop, it powered my PineTab, and it powered, I'm sorry, my PineBook Pro and my phone all at the same time. It was really nice to be able to bring one thing down that could charge multiple devices. That was a pleasant change of pace. It also has a micro USB 2.0 OTG, which enables it to basically put out to like more hubs. 2 megapixel front facing camera, 5 megapixel rear. I'm a person who cares nothing about camera and camera specs. Optional M.2 slot. This to me is one of the really nice features of it, but you have to then spend more money after the fact to truly take advantage of it. I just love the fact that it's a feature. Speakers and microphone, 3.5 audio jack, including a mic line in, volume rocker, and the home button, physical buttons, magnetically attracted keyboard optional, uh, which I am a fan of. I'll say I haven't even opened it up and I'm already a fan of it. That's how much I am a fan of that keyboard. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, baked in, single band hotspot available too, Bluetooth 4.0, A2DP, which is more stereo, full featured, full range of sound through Bluetooth. 6,000 milliamp battery, I'm not sure how long battery life it's going to equate to, but it sounds like a good amount of battery. 3.5-inch barrel power port. This will be a stickler to a lot of people. Why do a barrel jack? If anyone's listened to anything I've done in the past, you know I despise barrel jacks. I hate the idea of barrel jacks. I would love it if I could plug up to the OTG or the USB and power it that way as well. Maybe it would take longer to charge, but I wish that was an option. I do not believe it is. Um, Also, it has multiple expansion boards for LTA, long range, and a SATA SSD. So this is a first generation, I'll say, Linux tablet. You can see in this picture the size of the bezel will not be small. Again, first generation. This is not, a 2020 iPad or anything. This is a first generation Linux tablet from a very small company trying to do their best for other people. You can see on the top, the power button and volume rocker should be right there. I also want to say a huge thanks before I forget to Captain Zero. Without him, this would not have happened. Period. Hard stop. Big thanks to Captain Zero. Can you run ARM VMs on it? You can run anything on it that will run on any kind of ARM ecosystem. Is the logic behind it? To Rich in the chat. So if you can run VMs on your Raspberry Pi, if you can run VMs on any other ARM infrastructure, there's no reason why you couldn't run the same thing here. I will say with 2 gigs of RAM, you're not going to get much performance out of those VMs, even if you boot to like a command prompt only and just run everything headless. It's still going to be not fast, is the way that I'll put it. My camera that I have, I cannot leave it on autofocus the whole time, or it will constantly zoom in and out, like keep adjusting the focus. So when I do change where the focus is, I'm going to switch off of this camera view. But here is the PineTab, not yet opened. I did take it out of the DHL bag, but it's sitting here ready to be opened. So let's take a look and see this thing with our own eyes. Okay. Definitely a little bit of damage right there, but I do not think it's going to cause any like catastrophic failure, is what I'll say. A box. It was a bag in a bag, and now a box in a box. And there, it's hard to see. There is a little bit of damage right there on the box. I really hope, basically, that the screen is not damaged. So let's give it another one. Looks good, feels good. Okay. It was definitely well packaged, is what I will say. With a lot of things, I think in packaging have gotten so much better over the years. There is a little bit of padding right here baked into the box, which I do appreciate. Pine never goes overboard with papers and documents. So that's everything that's in the box. Okay. I will say, typically when I've gotten USB-C cables from Pine in the past, they've been of a higher quality than normal, is the way that I'll put it. Yeah, this is the gimmick with a dynamic mic. As soon as I turn my head a little bit, the audio goes out. So let's take this paper to the side. This needs to stop dropping. It just keeps dropping. Okay. I want to first take a look at the keyboard, to be honest. Okay, keyboard is also a keyboard in a case, which I just was unaware. Feels decent. There actually is a little bit of travel to the keys, which I will say when I've had other keyboards like this with tablets, the range is almost like non-existence, but there actually is a little bit of range. I like the fact that the case is like completely part of it. Makes it absolutely more professional. So I will say this keyboard, at least so far, appears to be a good value, very good value. But like everything else from Pine people, value is how they play things. and you can see the case has bend points to where if you want to basically have it, stand up, you can do things like that so it stands up. So that is definitely a cool feature, and I'm sure it was a cost saving measure to do that kind of thing, but I think it's really smart of them. No battery on the keyboard. I will say, I'm going to say not positively, but just because of the weight of it, there's no way that there's a battery in it. But I could be wrong. So let's unwrap this thing, and voila, Pine Tab. FCC sticker on the back, which is most definitely hard to see. You can you can see the design for a little bit of texture. I do like the idea of that a lot. Uh, Magnetic clip, uh, 2 extra spots to make sure the keyboard stays where it's supposed to be staying. No, nothing on this edge. This edge, we have the power button, volume rocker. There's the camera up top there, camera up top here, and here's where all the action is happening. Uh, we're I will say it went right by me. I'll go back to the center. Headphone jack, power, full size USB, mini HDMI, which I will say, I as long as it has a display out, I'm happy. I wish it was a full size, but hey, I digress. Uh, OTG right there, and this is the slot for expansion, is what I'm going to say. So that's cool. There's the micro USB right there. But micro SD card slot right there. Okay. Um, and yeah, I looked right past it. While it is a barrel connector, it's powered via USB. Um, I'll say that's good because then that means I don't have to bring a huge power brick with me. So I will say that's a plus. It isn't perfect, but it's at least that. So let's power this thing on. See if we got any juice. There you go. Do have some juice. Let me see if I can get this picture better. Okay. Guessing it's still powering up. All right, there you go. Running Ubuntu, which means heavy. In the Linux world, whenever I see the word Ubuntu, I equate it to a heavy desktop. It's not meant for speed, it's meant for full functionality. That has most definitely taken more than a couple seconds to boot up with huge glaring lights above me. Fantastic. Okay. Congratulations on being one of the first people in the world to receive a Pine 64 tab. This version of Ubuntu Touch has several known issues, and they acknowledge it right away, which I think is one of the other fantastic things about the Pine 64 people is their transparency. Few people I think are as transparent as they are. It's a good idea to do the following: remove the Pine tab from the keyboard dock if attached, connect it to Wi-Fi, head to settings, updates, and do those updates. This will ensure you have the latest, greatest software. You may reconnect the keyboard dock after the update computer. Then learn more, go here, go here. So again, they're being incredibly transparent, which I do say I like. It does look like I had a decent battery charge too. Clicking next, come down here. English United States. Okay, we're going to do this. Okay, back there. Enter your city, time zone. That's fine. Said it was connected. Let me try it again. Does help when you type it right. Yeah, there you go. New York City, time zone. It's fine by me. Next, preferred name. D2D. Create new password. Okay. Okay. So I think I will have to actually like play around with the normal Ubuntu, see how that basically goes. Swipe from the top edge to access notifications and quick save. So this is a lot like the OS on the Pine phone, which is not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing. So yeah, you go down, you go sideways to get to everything. So that's fine. I'm cool with that. So let's go long swipe from the edge for the application drawer. That's right to do that. And then is it going to tell me about the other swipe or is it going to wait for me to load something? Yeah. So the other swipe from this edge is how you either task switch or keep going um, and kill applications. So I'll say this is so far running. I'll say fine, not great, not extremely fast, not crazy, but it seems to be running. I'll say fine. Let's come here to the updates. 5 updates available. Update all. So let's let that go. Okay, so I'll say initial impressions. It works. It works fine. It feels good in the hand, is what I will say. I do like the Pine hardware fit and finish. It does seem like it's built, I'll say, well. I'm not going to say perfect. I'm not going to say great. I'm not going to say, iPad killer or something foolish like that, or equivalent to a Samsung Android tablet, because it's not. It is a Linux tablet, and it seems okay. Now, I did get an email on the very same day. Once again, thanks to Greg, I knew this was on sale, so he bought it. I bought the same time. We actually got ours on the same day. I haven't had a chance to open it up. I wanted to do it live so I could say thank you to Captain Zero. Okay, here is the email, and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I received my PineTab today. I took it out and played around with it briefly to make sure it wasn't damaged. I likely have to turn it over to my wife to put away for a Christmas gift for me, which I will say that's actually a smart thing to do. I might um, do that same thing. I did very little with it, but it seems a little slow, but I'll have to play with it a bit more to know for sure. Um, One thing I'll say is I really don't like the fact they didn't use USB-C or even micro USB. They use a tiny little barrel connector, WTF. Why would they go out of their way to not use USB-C? It is what it is. Um, I'll say I believe now I can't say that I know, but I believe um this tablet was basically designed even before the Pine phone was designed. So I believe the inners from this are more reminiscent of the Pine A64 board, where the Pine phone is almost more reminiscent of the Pinebook Pro type of construction. Because on the Pine boards, it was always a barrel connector, and it always drove me nuts. Um, I'm happy that while it is a barrel connector, they at least give you a USB thing, so you could literally still connect it to like a portable battery pack. Technically, you could still plug it up inside of your car. It isn't a huge um brick, which I'll say that's good. But yes, I agree. I would love it if it was USB C, and I would happily have paid more for USB C. I don't know how much more, but more. The PineTab itself, around $100. The keyboard itself, I want to say, was $20 extra. So it's just about $138, if I'm not mistaken, for both the tablet and the keyboard. Um, I will say I am going to expect it to be a touch slow because it's running Ubuntu Touch. I'm going to try to play around, see if I can get a lighter desktop on it. While I appreciate a lot of the touch things about it, I don't need to swipe for my notifications. I can use my keyboard for a lot of those functionalities kind of thing. I do also like the fact that it's a full size USB. It's going to make it easier for me to like plug up a mouse to it or other things. So I'll say if this was $200, I would be upset at the fact that it didn't have USB-C. I'd be upset that it only had 2 gigs of RAM. I might be upset at like the speed and sensitivity of it. For $100, I'll say I'm going to like live with it kind of thing. Um, because it's only $100. Um, thank you again to Captain Zero. If it wasn't for him, this would not have happened. Period. Um, I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to try to use it as like a post production interface, and what I mean by that is connect to VMs over my network and see if I can get work done that way. At least when I need more power in order to do things. So that was like the first look unboxing of the PineTab. Overall, $100. I think it's a steal. I really do. Time will tell how useful it is for day to day operations. The one thing I know for sure is it's going to be 10 times more functional than any Android tablet just because of the software that's available to it, because it is true Linux. Y- you know, I'm going to have fun with it. And I want to thank everyone who came out. Rich, thank you for the like because I know you did it on YouTube. And I'm going to continue to take off work today and do housework. So thanks everyone. I'll talk to everyone again real soon.